Yeousch!
Oh look, another zombie game. Yeah, that was my initial reaction too. But I was wrong. State of Decay from Undead Labs for the Xbox 360 is not just another third-person beat-em-up zombie game. It might look that way at first. You start out with a couple of characters who were on a camping retreat, cutting ties with the rest of the world for a relaxing vacation. Upon returning, everything's in shambles, and zombies are roaming the streets. It's a pretty cliche setup for a zombie apocalypse, but it works to establish the setting of sudden, unexpected change and how overwhelming that must feel. Although I gotta say, the scariest thing about the way this game starts is how it looks. It's pretty damn ugly. The character models and animations are dated, and clipping through barriers is immediately apparent. The textures are rather plain and washed out. Jagged lines are everywhere and the screen tearing is all over the place. To top it off, the frame rate is anything but consistent. So you knock out a few zombies and find a small group of survivors. And that's when you realize that you have a whole lot more to worry about than just beating up some zombies. State of Decay is more of a zombie apocalypse simulator than a simple beat-em-up game. You won't be taking on the role of a single protagonist and gunning through the game. You're taking care of everyone. You're gathering food, ammo, construction materials, fuel, and medicine. You're building sleeping areas, you're cooking meals for your companions, you're switching between survivors to give others a rest. You're taking another on a walk to talk through personal issues and prevent morale breakdowns.
Anyway, I wanted you to know that I understand your frustration.
That why you wanted this bit of quality time?
We're all stressed, but we can't afford to be at each other's throats, okay? So start playing nice, or you're out on your ass.
And the game pretty much plops all of this on you at once. It's not a good first impression. You'll be fumbling through the first couple of hours of the game, feeling like you're doing everything wrong. And you probably are. But in time, things start to make sense. You start to piece together the functional needs for each resource. You learn that you can ask your companion Lily to keep an ear out for specific resource locations so you're not aimlessly scavenging. And while everything needs to come to your home base, you can set up outposts at strategic locations to keep zombies at bay and to keep resources coming in. This is when the game transitions from ugly and bewildering to exciting, tense, and purposeful. Tough decisions are commonplace. Neighbors often need help, but if you bring them under your roof, you need to feed them and manage their tempers. If you're off getting supplies and a fellow survivor gets in trouble elsewhere, you'll feel obligated to comply ASAP because death is permanent in this game. Individual characters don't get second chances. Once you progress past the initial frantic pace of getting your home base settled in, that's when things open up a bit. Your options expand. You can move your base to a different location in town. You can spend a little more time thinking about what supplies to spend your hard-earned influence on, the game's currency, and less about just having any supplies at all. You'll feel a bit more control over sending another survivor to gather supplies while you work at something else. Simply as a result of learning your surroundings, your clan of survivors makes a satisfying progression from out-of-control group to functional organization. And when you find yourself driving for the first time, you'll notice pretty quickly that the sandbox that State of Decay exists in is pretty sizable. There's certainly a lot to do if you want to do it. All the while, you'll be getting the hang of the actual zombie altercations in the game.
Oh shit, it fell right away.
While out scavenging for resources, you're bound to end up in some fights. While guns are an option, you'll want to conserve ammo, and you'll quickly discover that gunshots attract a lot of unwanted attention. As a result, most of your fighting will take place as melee combat, using any swingable object you can get your hands on. It's generally uncomplicated with an attack button and a dodge button, but you'll need to manage your stamina gauge. Also, as you use certain abilities, your survivor will level up and learn new moves using button modifiers. Even as you get the hang of combat, there's always a sense of danger. The act itself of searching for supplies makes noise that can attract attention and takes time. So when at one moment it seems that you might be home free, it only takes another moment to attract an entire horde to your location. One zombie is almost never a problem, but a horde is always a problem. So even routine resource gathering can result in sudden panic if you're noticed by too many zombies. And since death is permanent, the thought that the life of your super leveled survivor might be in danger is quite a scary one. These unscripted moments are definitely the most intense of the game. The only truly frustrating parts of the game are the ones that you have no control over. Interestingly, the game continues to progress when you are not playing. On one hand, this helps because certain tasks take real time to complete. And it can be ridiculous. One infirmary upgrade I made towards the end was slated to take 2 days, 48 real hours. So yeah, I'm glad those aren't in-game hours, but it was kind of a bummer to know that I wouldn't see that upgrade during that play session, or even the next. But also, one time I logged in and one of my survivors had gone missing and gotten killed in the amount of time that I wasn't playing. It was frustrating that I never had the chance to go save him because, well, I wasn't even playing. It made me nervous to not be playing the game, in a bad way. It also seems a bit nonsensical that, although I had a house full of survivors, I couldn't take any with me on missions. You'll be incidentally paired with some in certain situations, but if you want to go resource gathering or hit a story mission, you're generally going solo. It's a frustrating mission. And oh my god, the bugs. There's a laundry list of issues here, and they're not all just annoyances. Zombies jumping through walls on occasion sounds annoying, but when it's a huge, super powerful zombie that comes up behind you and tears your second best survivor to shreds, that's incredibly frustrating. When AI companions fail to help, that sounds annoying. But when said companion convinces you to help him hunt for a threatening feral zombie, and then stands aside and watches as your best character is killed by it, that's incredibly frustrating. When locations that are infested with zombies cause your survivors to panic and go missing, that sounds annoying. But when the infestations causing the issue are nowhere near your home base and don't even show up on your map, and still cause your survivors to disappear faster than you can save them, that's incredibly frustrating. At one point, I'd received a mission to rescue one of those missing survivors and bring him back to base. But when I got to his location, he was invisible. I know he was there, and he was talking to me because I could see the subtitles for his dialogue appearing, but he wasn't actually there, and he wouldn't follow me back to base.
Hey, are you...
Whenever you're ready, buddy. Help!
Who? Who? What the fuck is that all about? I'm supposedly escorting a survivor right now, and I see him on my map. There's like a dot, but I don't actually see a survivor. Oh no, really?
Another survivor down to a technical issue. Plus, there were 2 other survivors that were actually stuck in my home base. They were standing unmoving in the same spot, and I couldn't speak to them. One of them apparently had a morale issue that I needed to solve, but I couldn't solve it because he wouldn't respond. These problems had also apparently taken away my ability to proceed in the game, as it wasn't giving me any more story missions. The whole thing appeared to have broken on me, and I was already 8 hours in. Incredibly frustrating. However, another bug actually saved me. I came back to the game a day later and it had actually lost some of my progress. It still recognized new areas I had searched, but I lost some structures I had built and some mission progress. This would have been maddening, but it fixed the issues with the invisible and stuck survivors. Suddenly, the invisible survivor was in a different location altogether, where I was finally able to pick him up and save him. And my other stuck survivors were freely roaming and I could communicate with them again. Best of all, I started receiving story missions again and could once again progress through the game. After that group of bugs that was making me miserable, the bugs I ran into for the remainder of my 20-hour playthrough were minimal and didn't really affect my experience. Also, I can confidently say that the developers are hard at work fixing these issues, as is evidenced by the official forums and the couple of patches that have come out since release. The latest patch is said to fix the issue I had with the distant infested locations causing my survivors to disappear, and also enables VSync to cure the screen tearing. The list of fixes is quite long and can be found at forums.undeadlabs.com. So with that, here's the bottom line. I'm giving State of Decay a score of 3.5 out of 5. It's a legitimately good game. Though I've played other games in the same cliche environment, this is the first time that I've had that frantic feeling of trying to manage resource gathering and group morale during a time of crisis, while worrying about my own character's neck as well. It really feels like a zombie apocalypse simulator, and the combat is enjoyable too. But I couldn't help but feel like I was playing a beta version. The bugs are numerous, and some of them rather debilitating. Even almost a month later, the list seems to go on forever. They're a true barrier to enjoying the game, even if you don't hit one of the several known game breakers. And they cause me to stop short of more strongly endorsing this game. That said, I can honestly say that I very much enjoyed my experience with State of Decay, even in spite of these bugs. And that's a testament to its pure gameplay. And at 1,600 Microsoft points, or $20 in real money, it's not going to break the bank. But keep in mind that Undead Labs has already stated that they've been developing for the PC alongside the Xbox version since day one. There's no release date for it yet, but it sounds like it's not too far off. Logically, we could expect the PC version to look better, and hopefully many of these bugs will have been ironed out by then. So while I can say that State of Decay in its current form is still a worthwhile game, if the PC is an option for you, you might want to wait a bit longer for that version.